Chapter 456.5. Yudhir is truly amazing. Jimmy, who had climbed into a cart covered in dirt, exclaimed with accelerated enthusiasm. The boy had finally managed to engage in a brief duel with Yudhir Ale. During their evening relaxation time after dinner, the members who had spent the day traveling by cart and horse all gathered to watch the duel. Jimmy unleashed all the abilities he had developed over time. His strength has indeed increased significantly. However, he ultimately couldn't go so much as to neck the hem of Yudhir Ale's clothing. Yudhir, who had shown immense strength against the monsters of the great serene forest, effortlessly dodged and swung at the thin air in front of Jimmy's outreached hand. After a few rounds of attack and defense, Yudhir effortlessly disarmed Jimmy with fluid movements, wielding the weapon far more skillfully than its original owner. In a single stroke, he defeated his opponent and had a blade at his throat, forcing a surrender. Even without using any significant abilities, the skill gap between them was so overwhelming that the onlookers were utterly deflated. But Jimmy didn't feel bad at all. Every time he lost to either, his eyes sparkled with immense joy. It was only after repeating the same act 5 times and hearing from Commander Keshir that it was time to move on that the young boy finally stepped back. Still unable to contain his excitement, he eagerly shared his thoughts with Gakane and the elder siblings who were in the same carriage. You see, just because my power has increased a bit doesn't mean I'm suddenly all that. I can see where the tip of his sword is going, so I have been told to practice my basic swordsmanship 5 more times a day. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to add 10 more. Jimmy, you can roll around like that and not get tired? Gakane asked, his eyes a mix of admiration and pride. Not at all. Actually, I wanted to ask the commander if he would spar with me too, but alas, I couldn't. Finn Eldor shook his head at the audacious comment from the exuberant 12-year-old. A one-on-one duel with the commander? Ugh, no thanks. Me neither. Hin Eldor echoed her brother's sentiment, making the same face. Why not? Do you really not know? The commander never lets anything end easily. Yeah, I have never seen him end a duel quickly, even when his opponents are completely exhausted. As the twins exchanged nods of silent agreement, Jimmy, who had been tilting his head, cautiously spoke up. What about Yudhir then? Is it not so great to spar with him? Yudhir's fine, he's quick to the point. What about you, Gakane? Me? Well, if you're asking who I would choose for one-on-one training session, I think I would go with Yudhir. Huh? I thought Gakane, who is eager to train, would choose the commander. Why Yudhir? Faced with Hin's question, Gakane smiled awkwardly and cautiously added his reason. Well, Yudhir would probably move on to the next person if I passed out. But the commander, he'd likely keep watching until I woke up again. I can imagine it. That face as he watches, smiling. Gakane, don't tell me you have experienced it. The noise from the elder siblings died down and Jimmy changed the subject. So, who do you think would win in a duel between the commander and Yudhir? Jimmy scratched his head, gauging the looks from the three. Honestly, I'm curious. Am I the only one? Comparing someone from humble origins who joined the cavalry around the same time as them to the sky-high noble commander was normally unimaginable and quite risky. But they were the cavalry. After a moment of silence, Finn, who had been rubbing his chin thoughtfully, finally spoke, looking at his twin sister. This is so tough. Seriously, I have never faced such a difficult question before. Do you think Uncle Mackie felt this way when we pranked him to tell us apart? What pranks have you guys been playing? Not telling. Although Gakane asked in a trembling voice, the twins just laughed and didn't answer. Afterward, the four engaged in a rather serious debate about the duel between Yggdrasil and Commander, who would be the winner. It was an engrossing topic that helped pass the time, given that they had to be stuck in a carriage heading towards the capital all day. No, Yggdrasil single-handedly decapitated that massive monster, using earth abilities to bind its legs and wind abilities to offense. It had nowhere to run. Wouldn't anyone with that much skill be unbeatable? Well, we have hardly ever seen the commander exert full effort. I have never seen him struggle against anyone. He's never been injured like Yggdrasil either. So, wouldn't that make him stronger? But Yggdrasil is... No, if the commander back then... Ugh, we are not getting anywhere. With a fervent debate, Hind finally raised both hands and shouted, cutting everyone off. What's the point of arguing about something that hasn't even happened yet? Boring. Let's make a bet instead. What kind of bet? Finn immediately perked up and responded. Just bet on who will win. We will find out the answer eventually. Sounds fun for a change, but what are we wagering? Money is probably the best, right? True, I heard we are getting a bonus after the mission wraps up. So we could take a little from there. Sounds good to me. Oh, I want in on this. Count me in. Wait a minute, everyone. Calm down. Betting money is essentially gambling. What are you talking about, Gakane? You are from the south and you think this is gambling? Grow a spine. Gakane looked as if he wanted to ask what being from the south had to do with anything, but he was overwhelmed by the group's enthusiasm and said nothing. Not content with merely drawing Gakane into the bet, Hind dreamed bigger. Wouldn't it be more fun if more people were involved? I think we should hear other people's opinion as well. Hind, aren't you blowing this out of proportion? Don't worry, it's fine. First, let's ask people what they think about the question Jimmy is curious about. If they show interest, then and only then will I gently ask them if they would like to participate. I absolutely won't force anyone who's not interested. But there might not be anyone like that. The twins exchanged glances, smiling devilishly as they clasped hands. Gakane tried a few more times to dissuade them but eventually gave up. And so, unbeknownst to the commander and his assistant, an oddly suspicious survey and pool of bettors began to form within the cavalry.